Hello. Welcome to this video, which is a response to an Australian broadcast company series known as You Can't Ask That, and this particular program is made up of questions to fat people. A little background. I have suffered from being overweight on occasion, mainly due to medical issues which have severely restricted my ability to exercise. I also have a relative who was extremely overweight due to stress eating after having a very, very bad boss at work. That situation changed. They got help. They got a good diet, and now they've lost almost all of that weight and are on their way to being the lightest they've been in over 20 years. And they're happy about it. So I'm not sitting from a position of, I'm skinny and you're fat and you're an asshole. No, I understand what can happen. I am not being unreasonable in this response. With that said, let's get to it.
So should I just pick up one of these?
Yeah, in a moment.
Okay.
Just wait till
First question. Question is...
The first one is, why are you so fat?
You're going to notice that a lot of questions asked in this video are loaded. I mean, really loaded. In fact, most of them are pretty infantile. You may have noticed in this video's title sequence that the questions are anonymous questions asked over the internet. Anonymous internet. That means trolls. And I'm sure ABC is picking the most obnoxious and provocative questions for this as opposed to thoughtful and reasoned questions. That's just a hunch.
I asked myself that question for a lot of years.
And what was the answer? And did the answer come to you and you said, oh well, it doesn't matter, I'll just stay at this weight? Give us some details.
I didn't really have a lot of say in it. I didn't wake up one day and think, I think I might be fat.
A complete non-answer. This guy ought to be a politician.
I'm fat probably because that's the way the women are in my family. We're all the same shape.
Okay, she's an endomorph. She called it. However, I think she's overcompensating a little bit with the clown outfit. Just an opinion.
I've been a former sumo wrestler. Everyone knows what a sumo wrestler is. They're all huge, big, fat, fat guys.
Ah, a genetic freak. Sumo wrestlers are born, not made. Charming Man 93 could not decide, I want to be a sumo wrestler, and then start making money at it. While this gentleman, he's got the body for it. He's athletic, he's big frame. Yes, he could make himself into a sumo wrestler, and he did. But you've got to come down from that weight, slowly and in a healthy manner. You can't just sit around and let it be with you. It's going to kill you over time.
Why I'm so fat is because I don't train as much and I don't look after myself in the eating department.
Somebody text Diogenes. We found an honest man. This gentleman just lays it out. He's not taking care of himself. Look at his face. He's not happy about that either. Are we trying to fat shame him? Are we trying to say, look, you're a lazy slob and you don't take care of yourself? No, we don't have to. He already knows that. This is a gentleman who has a healthy attitude about his body, and with the right motivation, with the right help, he could get down. He could get his weight into a normal range. He wants to. You can see it.
I eat regular food. I put on more weight than other people.
Okay, but how much regular food were you eating? I mean, if your metabolism, I'm guessing, is slower than normal people's, then you can't eat as much as those people and still maintain a healthy weight. It's simple chemistry. If you're not using as much energy as you take in, you're going to gain weight. Were you exercising while you were eating that quote-unquote normal food? Were you watching your portions? Did you consider low-fat food? Any of this?
I did go up and down a lot. And it's interesting that when I went on Weight Watchers for something like 3 years, I didn't actually feel that much better about my body. I didn't wear bathers, I didn't wear tight-fitting clothes, and I think that's because a lot of it's in your head about how you feel about yourself.
Before I get into what this woman said, let's take a look at her. Her hair is not washed recently. She has an unhealthy pallor, and listen to her when she speaks. She can only get a few words out, and then she has to take a deep breath. She is not healthy. This woman is not going to be long for this earth if she keeps this kind of lifestyle up. Now, she was on Weight Watchers for 3 years. That's laudable. I'm not a fan of Weight Watchers, but whatever works for you. My sister was on Weight Watchers, and it helped her quite a bit. However, you have to stick with these plans, and if they're not working for you, you've got to find something else. The relative I mentioned in the intro, she uses a system named after a certain person, and it's worked great for her. She's sticking with it, and she's very happy. And that's the trick. You have to keep using it. These systems are not designed to get you down to a particular weight and then let you go off on your own and resume your same bad habits. They're there to discipline you. And if you can't maintain that discipline, you're not going to maintain a good weight. That's all there is to it.
It pretty much comes down to headspace, I think, for me. When I was growing up, I was always a skinny, thin lad. I think in my 20s, had a few relationship issues, kind of got lazy and sort of let go of myself. And then ever since then, it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
This is a common pattern. He was heartbroken. He was under stress. So he ate to relieve that stress. He knows it's not a good thing for him. And on occasion, he tried to stop and get some help. But he didn't maintain a proper discipline, and he went back up. That roller coaster effect is common among overweight people, and it's dangerous. Losing weight, taking it back on, losing it again, stresses your body, stresses your metabolism, and it will shorten your lifespan. It is not healthy. Again, this gentleman is being very honest. He knows what he's up against. I just don't think he's getting the help he needs in order to lose this weight and maintain a healthy weight.
Being labelled fat from a young age has made it very difficult to live a confident life.
But you were fat from a young age, as we will find out later. Is this like that bossy thing that's supposed to knock girls down and keep them from achieving? Maybe instead of saying, I was labeled fat, therefore I couldn't be confident, you could say, I can't be fat anymore. I want to lose weight and gain confidence. Does that sound completely out of bounds?
People say that I'm fat, that I can't do this, but I always prove them wrong.
I'd be curious to know how many times you hear that, say in a year. Obviously your friends would never say something like that. They would know you were once a professional athlete. Random strangers telling you, well, you can't do that, you're fat. I just don't see that that's going to come up a whole lot. In fact, a lot of the things we're going to hear in this video, I don't think happen regularly, if at all.
Kids always tease me, I was always given crap. You get used to it, but it's not pleasant.
Yep, kids can be dicks. In fact, this day and age, they're most often dicks. But how often are you walking around and running into random kids?
There's a thing we call good fatty, bad fatty. If you're a good fatty, then you're fat, but you still do exercise, you still eat well, you justify yourself, then you behave in a way that is acceptable. You are an ashamed fat person.
Good fatty, bad fatty. Okay? That's got to be from the quote-unquote fat community, because I've never heard that used. In fact, even around the fat people that I know, I've never heard that used. Maybe it's an Australian thing. I don't know. But what the hell is this? You're doing everything right, and you're still overweight? If you're doing everything right, you're losing weight, sweetheart. That's the equation. And how do you justify yourself? I have no idea what she means by that. To say, yes, I'm fat because? Is that it? I don't know. But to say in one breath, one ragged breath, that you justify yourself, and then just seconds later that you have to be ashamed? What the fuck? You don't make any sense, woman. You don't have to be ashamed. No one is expecting you to be ashamed. They might hope, they might even expect you to be understanding of your situation and want to lose weight to be a more healthy person, especially you, but no one is expecting you to be ashamed. That's projection, sweetheart. That is pure projection.
Oh, what a good fatty.
But if you pile your plate high, you're really hungry and you're just eating away, and you don't show any shame,
Oh, what a bad fatty. They're having chips.
then that's when people might start looking at you sideways.
Oh, bad fatty.
Okay, you're at a buffet and you pile your plate, as you just said. You're chowing down. Your elbows are just flying through the air. And you don't expect someone to look at you and think, wow, they're fat and they're doing everything they can to stay fat. I don't get you people. I just don't. A good fatty, the way you put it, is someone who isn't going to stay fat for very long. They're going to lose that weight. A bad fatty is someone who tries to be fat. Again, I think you're putting a lot of projection on other people.
We're all human beings and we all deserve respect. And if you want to sit on the couch and eat donuts all day, whether you're thin or fat, that doesn't mean that you should be condemned.
You can demand respect all you want, but you're not getting it from me. Someone as sick as you, someone as unhealthy as you, who's not taking care of themselves? No, you do not deserve any respect. Bad fatty. And why should I respect someone who decides to sit on the couch and eat donuts all day? That is a miserable human being. I would not want to hang out with anyone who does that. I would not want anyone I know to hang out with someone who does that.
When people say, why are you so fat? I usually say, why are you so rude?
Yeah, again, kids. I suppose in some sense a rude answer is appropriate to a rude question. But again, we're talking about kids. Maybe something a bit more mollifying as opposed to showing them not only you're fat, but you're a bitch.
Do people treat you differently because you're fat?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes, they treat me differently because I'm fat.
Of course they treat you differently. You're not normal. Being that overweight makes you stand out from the crowd. Literally. I'm treated differently when people first meet me because I wear a cowboy hat everywhere. And I live in fucking southern Wisconsin. Not exactly cattle country. But once they get to know me, it goes away. Now with you, you're going to get some slightly different attitudes because they need to make adjustments around you. People are going to have to take into consideration your weight before they do something with you. If I'm going to a trampoline park with some friends, you might not come along. Just saying.
If I'm in public, somebody pretty much says something to me on the street.
A guy came up to me and snorted like a pig in my face.
Yeah, pig noises, dog noises, cow noises. They get really generous with the farmyard.
Right. I'm sure that happens all the time. I mean, seriously. I walk down the street with my wife and we see a fat person walking in front of us. We can't even hold a conversation because the barnyard noises other people are making are so damn loud. In fact, we're doing it so much, we're just laughing our asses off. It's too funny. It's a fat person. Everybody join in. Yeah, give me a fucking break, lady. I don't see this happening anywhere, but in your mind.
People look at you like you're a lower class of person.
I can see that happening. In fact, I'm sure that happens. People are judgmental. It's in our DNA. We learned how to pick and choose people to be a part of our group, our clan. If we wanted a mate who was a good carer, who a good provider. If we wanted a warrior, we looked for someone tough, who could run well, who could throw the spear well. But nowhere in that equation is someone sought after because they're morbidly obese. There's no benefit to the tribe from that person. So yeah, you're going to be judged. I'm sorry it hurts. I can understand it. I was morbidly obese once. I didn't feel good about myself at all, and I know other people didn't feel good about me either. But I did something about it. You know that you can do something about it. You've already said that you know what the problem is, so get help, get healthy. You're partly responsible for these looks. Own up to it.
People don't invite me to things that involve movement.
So don't wait for them. Take the initiative. Plan an activity that involves movement. Invite other people along and show them that you can handle it. Once they know that their assumptions are wrong, you'll be in. Don't wait.
I was riding down the waterfront. I gave a little ding ding of my bell because there were some people spread across. And as I passed them, the mother, it was a woman with like teenage kids, the mother goes, "Keep peddling, you fat bitch." And I was like, "You're in front of your kids."
I have a feeling there's a little more to this story. As we've established, you are a fat bitch. Perhaps that little ting ting wasn't the only thing you used to get their attention.
The worst are kids, because they don't have that filter. I've just had kids come up to me before and say, "You're fat." Straight out, "You're fat."
Yeah, as we said before, kids are rude. Kids can be total pricks. But they also see things as they are, and you are fat.
Yeah, I'm going to horrify my grandmother and say that probably the meanest thing people say is they just call me a fat cunt.
Well, found my thumbnail.
You have to stop caring so much what people think of you. And you just say, well, that person wants to yell at me on the street. Well, the world's full of assholes.
Yes, the world is full of assholes. And you may run into more than your share. I don't know. But you identified the problem. Partially. You're the one drawing attention to yourself. So perhaps you could do something about that.
Because I'm a blogger and an activist who's pretty visible online. I get those online a lot. One guy actually said that he was going to smash my face with a hammer if he saw me in public. It was great because I was able to track him down and he was emailing from his employer.
I would love a little context to that remark. I imagine, in her mind, the guy just came out of the blue and put that on Twitter or on Facebook, whatever, and boom, triggered. But I have a feeling it went more like she was being a bitch, he was being an asshole, she turned into a raving lunatic Clementine Ford bitch, and he lost his temper. Was he justified in saying that? No, I think that's going too far. But what did she do? You know what she did. She went to his employer. She got him fired. Yep, Clementine Ford all over again. What is it with these Australian feminists and getting guys sacked? Is it something in the water? Or it's Australia, so the beer?
I find people just don't want to be close to you. Ugh, I don't want to talk to that person. He's a fat prick.
Projection, good sir. Unless you've actually had people sit down next to you and say, "I don't want to talk to you, you're a fat prick," and get up and walk away.
And me and my mates, we walked into one of the buffet restaurants. And when we get there, they stop us in the door. They said, like, we're not allowed to go in anymore. They were afraid that their business is going to shut down because of us eating that much.
Let me explain how that works from the restaurant's point of view. I used to work at a place in my hometown that had a Sunday all-you-can-eat salad bar. We did good business with it, except for this one family of 5, who would literally get dressed to come because they lived at the nudist colony up the road. They would walk in, get their plates, and decimate the salad bar. The only thing that was left by the time they were done was the creamed herring. They ate the pickled herring, just not the creamed herring. We stopped restocking the salad bar when they would come in, because if we kept it up to date, they would keep eating. The first time they came in and we tried keeping up with them, we lost money that day. Couldn't do it anymore. Now, were we happy about making other customers who came in at that time having to go without? Yes, but it was a small town and people learned that if they saw the locust, we called them the locust, if they saw the locust car out front, they would drive away and come back a little while later. It worked out really well for us. They finally stopped showing up, and we were able to serve everyone the way we normally did. So yeah, if I see 5 big guys coming into the restaurant during buffet time, and it looks like they're going to clean us out, I'm going to say something. I'll either limit your portions, I'll double your price, or I'll just ask you to leave.
They assume that I will always want to eat their leftovers. If there's, 1 or 2 mouthfuls left of something on a plate at a party, that I'm the one who'll eat it. Here, you can be the human garbage disposal. Once upon a time, I lived that because that's what I thought I had to do.
I'm getting the impression you have the self-esteem of a whore at high mass. Can't you stand up for yourself even a little bit? Who are these jerks you're hanging out with who force you to do these awful things that are against your nature, against your will? I don't understand you at all. Can you just say no? Sorry, Nancy Reagan. I mean, seriously, just say, I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat what you've just eaten. Anything. They'll get the message. Or do you just keep going to these random parties, throwing your weight around, no pun intended, and wind up getting misunderstood because nobody fucking knows you? Jesus God, man.
People ask, how do you wipe your butt? Personally, I prefer the neck of a swan.
I had never heard that phrase before, so I looked it up. Interestingly enough, it comes from a 16th century novel written by a French monk. The title is Gargantua and Pantagruel, and it's about two giants roaming a grotesque version of Europe. In the book, there are many passages that are just flat out weird, and one of them is the two giants discussing what's the best way to wipe your ass when you don't have toilet paper. And one of the ways described was using the neck of a live goose. The quote regarding that is, "You will thereby feel in your knockhole a most wonderful pleasure." If anyone knows of anyone who's tried this and did not get their dick bit off by the goose, I would love to hear about it.
How do you wipe your butt? Unless you're standing on your head. I'm doing it the same as you, probably.
Where's the validity in having trolls supply you with what you need to produce a video? I mean, seriously. This is just pure scatological, well, crap. And I'll bet in person she's been asked this question exactly 0 times.
I think people just look at you and think that you're basically a failure in life. No one wants to be fat. No one grows up saying, I want to be fat.
I'm not a stereotype. I'm a person with my own individual traits. One of them happens to be I'm fat.
How did we go from a frothy little how do you wipe your butt to two guys committing seppuku with butter knives? I don't get it. I've decided to break this video up into 3 pieces. If I don't do that, it would stretch out to almost an hour long, and I don't think even my most ardent subscribers would be able to put up with me for that length of time. Certainly not in one sitting. So stay tuned. Next week we'll bring part 2, and then the week after that we'll finish it up. The anecdote will appear at the end of the 3rd episode. As always, thank you for your attention.